to the show, everyone. I can't believe it's already Thursday of this week. I am so excited about bringing on my first guest, who is Matt Christensen. He is a certified legal document preparer. Welcome to the show again. You have been here a couple times, and we've been talking even before the show. It's so interesting. I love talking about, estate plans and trusts and all of that because, of course, right now, I told you that I was going through with this with my ex-husband, and I was talking to you about, you can talk about it for hours, and there's a lot that goes on with this, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the gift of giving peace of mind to people out there. So welcome back to the show. First of all, you've got to talk about you. You've got to talk a little bit about what makes you different and why use someone like you.
Thanks, Carol. I appreciate it. My name is Matt Christensen. I'm the owner-operator of Matt Christensen Arizona Legal Document Preparers, LLC. I prepare legal documents for people without the need of having to go to an attorney. Usually they're the typical documents that are easy to prepare, and I service my clients by doing that. I'm certified by the state of Arizona, the Supreme Court of Arizona, as a legal document preparer. I've been doing this for a little over 6 years, and prior to that I had 30 years in the law environment. So I worked within the law system for 30 years plus.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. What I love about you is that you are probably one of the nicest guys I've met in a long time. And you are so caring about making sure, and this is what's really important, is that the documents are done correctly and that they have everything that you can possibly imagine that's going to help you make sure that you are leaving the legacy that you want to leave, but also that it also carries on the way you wanted it carried on.
Absolutely. If precision in the preparation field for this type of document is essential. The other thing, though, is that I try to make a living document that doesn't have to be amended time after time after time. So we do that by a mechanism called a pour-over will, which takes all of your assets and actually puts it into the trust when you pass. By doing that, we're able to make it so that you don't have to have amendments every time you sell a car or every time you do anything minor in your life. It's there, and it's something you can depend on.
I really like the idea of that, but it has to be done correctly.
Yes, it
does. This I know. And you got into this because of why?
Well, trying to make a long story short, I retired, and I was there for about 2 years and realized that sitting around the house waiting for my retirement paycheck to come in just wasn't cutting it. And I've my entire life I've been out there to help people. So I started looking at different things that played on my experience, and I came up with this particular vocation. And the catalyst was when my father was dying. He had cancer. My mother was trying to get some documents prepared, and she had a hard time getting them prepared. And then when they were prepared, they weren't prepared quite the way we would want them. And it, with everything that was going on, this was the last thing she needed in her life. So I wanted to make sure that my clients never feel that way.
We're going to be doing some educating today about probate, which I think is so important for people to understand. And I also want to talk about that pour-over will again really quickly. And I had told you about my ex before, and he might be listening, and okay, it's okay, I'm just doing it. So, because he recently, his mother just passed away, and forever it was told everything's fine, and listen up everybody, because just because you think everything's fine doesn't mean that everything is fine. And really getting them out, dusting them off is so important. I recently had some surgery about 4 months ago, and got mine out, and there were a lot of little changes that needed to be made. So if mine had to be, which was very small, I mean, and this one happens to be really large, and I'm sure I'm gonna bring it up again, but when you have a pour-over will, when you talk about, like, you don't have to worry about with the cars and all of that, just in that instance, in that first thing that you said, right off the bat, the car was a problem. And the car had to be he wanted it to buy a car in his name, whatever, and they had everything at the DMV, which was under her maiden name from 94 years ago.
Right.
And that isn't even the case, and how they got that, I don't know. These are the things that people need to look at.
And pay attention to.
Absolutely.
Yes, I've got a case that I'm working through right now on a lady. They had the trust, everything in the trust looked great. Unfortunately, the life insurance issued a check to the estate of the deceased. And once you have that, then you have to go through probate. So I've had to take this lady through probate so that she could cash her life insurance check.
Isn't that terrible? How long?
How long was
Does it have to be? I mean, 'cause probate can last a long time.
Oh yeah, we're still in the middle of it.
Wow,
So-
wow. Okay, so let me give out your information. Because you're valley-wide, you do free consultations,
Yes, I do.
and his phone number is 480-933-3131. You can check him out on his website. It's AZestateplanz is with a Z.com. And anybody that's listening, I'm sorry, but if you don't have an estate plan, you really should. And everybody thinks, oh, I gotta have money, or I have a lot of things and this and that. It's way more than that.
It is.
And then the other thing is if you do, please get them out and dust them off. So, before we go to a break, I want you to just tell everybody what probate is.
Okay, probate is the process where the courts take over an estate, basically, and determine how it's going to be distributed. You can do it intestate without a will, or you can do it testate with a will. So the process is kind of long. It can take up to 20 months to get it done.
Go ahead.
The beginning, you make an application. The application. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me step back. So, depending on what type of estate you're looking at, you can do an informal or a formal probate process. The informal one is the one most frequently used. It's for when there's a family. There could be a will, there might not be a will, but it's limited, so maybe there's only 5 or 10 people involved. Once you start the informal process, what you do is make the application. And part of the application is that you have to determine one person that's going to be, or 2 people, that are going to be the personal representatives for the estate. Once that's determined, you have to sit down and fill the paperwork out, and anybody else that's concerned needs to sign off and say it's okay for this person to manage the estate.
We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we're gonna come back and talk further. Let me just tell you, if you think probate is long, it takes a long time to, go through it, and the process as well. So we're gonna come back, we're gonna talk further about it, and you can check him out on his website. It's AZestateplanz is with a Z.com. Again, his phone number is 480-933-3131. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute.
Sorry, when you've got a 16-month-old, anybody making motion off to the side, distraction.
Oh, that's okay, he's just talking to me.
I know.
We're still live in the room on
Right.
Facebook, so I just want to ask you. I think that a lot of people think that if they have any kind of a will, that makes them not go through probate. Is that the case?
Absolutely not. Every will has to be probated,
So every will,
with the exception of a pour-over will.
well then why don't everybody do that?
They're afraid of it.
Okay.
People hear the word trust, they think, number one, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Number two, they don't have enough assets to worry about it. Or, and the third one is that they don't have the time, they don't think they have the time to put something like that together.
Because I think a lot of people think if you have a trust, it's that you have assets. Is it just for assets, or is it for more?
The trust itself is to divide the assets. So what you're putting into the trust are the assets.
So if you have a home.
Home, anything. The pour over will takes everything that you have and put it in the trust when you pass.
Okay.
I tell my clients, make sure you designate if you want to have a special ring that you want to go to one person, we designate that. But we try not to be overly specific. For example, we talked about the cars. So if you take the car and you just say all my assets, and the car is just in your name, it's not in the trust name, when you pass, your trustee will be able to take the car and put it into the trust by displaying the death certificate.
Okay.
It makes life so much easier.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't understand it, and no matter how much you tell them, I think they don't understand it.
True. Yeah, you can't, excuse me.
It's okay.
Yeah, when people come into my office, they come in sometimes with just tons of paperwork, and I'm kind of looking at them. I'm like, what is all that? Well, don't I need all this stuff for the trust? No? Let's sit down and we'll go through it, and they're so surprised at how easy the process is.
Oh, we want to talk about that, okay? Because I myself still don't understand, and of course what I hear from him, what I hear from, people like you is like, oh my God. It's very confusing.
Right.
Because I don't have a trust. I don't have a trust. I just have, I'll tell you right here. Welcome back. Okay, so you see, I just said, I don't think I have a trust, and I don't, and your eyes went big, wide open. I was talking here with Matt about, during the break, about, how people don't understand what this is, and no matter how much you could tell them, it seems like no matter what, it's still very hard to understand. Because at the break I said to you, if you have a will, a lot of people probably think they don't have to go through probate, and you said, no matter what, if you have a will or not, you still have to go through probate. Let's talk about that for a second.
Sure. So the will lets you designate what you want done with your estate when you pass. The state still controls the distribution. So they're trying to be an independent person that distributes your assets the way you want it distributed. The only exception to that would be a pour over will that takes all of your assets when you pass and puts it into the trust. That type of will does not need to be probated.
Okay. And you do pour over wills. That's one of the things that you like to try and do the most because...
Well, it's my estate plan has 5 parts to it. So the first part is the actual trust itself. That's where we take and determine what assets you want to go where when you pass. The second aspect is the pour over will that says anything that's not addressed in the trust gets put into the trust when I pass.
Oh, okay, that's...
And then I always do the general durable power of attorney and the healthcare power of attorney. Those are both durable. They're good for as long as you're alive. So that allows somebody to take control of your assets and your healthcare decisions when you're not able to make the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And the last aspect of my estate plan is the living will, that if you become incapacitated, we talk about how much effort you want put into keeping you alive.
Okay, now, his phone number, again, I have talked about this during this show. Please, we want everybody to, if you haven't gotten yours done, please call him. If you have, and you need it dusted off and looked at, have him take a look at it, because I'm telling you now, a lot of times that there's some changes that need to be made. 480-933-3131. The website is AZestateplanz.com. Okay, going back, I want to talk about how the probate, you said there's a big process, and if you can cut that down, because I also want to go through a couple of other things. So
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when we stopped last time,
Yeah.
we were talking about having to get all of the heirs to say that whoever is selected on the paperwork is the person that they want to be the personal representative. They also have to sign off that there's no bond required. If there's a will, typically it says no bonds required, but if there isn't a will, then they have to state that they're okay waiving the bond. Then it goes to the registrar's office, the probate office, and they go through that application, they take a look at it, and they issue letters to the personal representative. That allows them to take action on the estate. What people don't understand is that they're also responsible for making sure any creditors get paid. So they're required to advertise for 4 weeks saying that this person has died, and if they owe you money, you need to let us know. And then closing out the estate, you have to do a final accounting of everything that was distributed, who it was distributed to, provide that to all the heirs, and provide it to the court. So that's court record of where everything goes. So yeah, that's, I've had them take, well, I just closed out the very first one I did that started almost 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
So it took that long because the family was all over the world and getting documents was kind of difficult, but yeah. So that one, like I said, just to close it out took that long. Others I've had, we've been able to close them out in 6 months. It
But
just
even
depends
6
on.
months. It's a long time.
Yes.
And I think the words there that you said is getting everybody to get along and agree on everything and get the paperwork and everything that you need, and obviously people to sign on things. I bet you that's hard too.
Correct. Getting
Yeah.
it signed and notarized in another location and sent back.
So, okay, this sounds almost like it's scary, you know what I mean?
It is. It's a rough process.
It is, and here's the thing though, if you have it done correctly, you said to me while we were on the break that a lot of people come in with you with paperwork and you're like, what's all that for? Because you do simplify it for people, and I think you should talk to people about that.
Sure. The trust process itself isn't that difficult. There's not a lot of documentation required to support what you're doing in the trust. Yeah, people come in and they've got all kinds of things. They've got their DD 214 from the military. They've got their life insurance policies. They've got just stuff, lots of stuff they think needs to be put in the trust. And in reality, most of them don't get touched. So the process is, like I said, like we talked about, it's fairly simple. It's easy to put together. It's a lot of, back and forth questions on where do you want stuff to go? How do you want it divided? What method do you want it divided by?
So how do you explain the pour-over will?
Okay, so the pour-over will, once again, that's a document that says when I die, I want all of my assets that aren't designated somewhere else to be put in the trust. So, for example, this is a question I get all the time is, I've got my 401k and I want to put my 401k in the trust. So I always ask them, do you have a beneficiary designated on your 401k? And if they answer yes, which is 99.9% of the time, I say, do you want to do something different with it than what it's designated as? And they're like, no, I want it to be split the way I said. well, then you don't need to put it in the trust, because that takes precedent over the trust. If you're a beneficiary on a financial document of some sort, yeah, it doesn't go into the trust.
So, some of this just can you talk to people over the phone and kind of ask them certain questions or what to bring in or what have you? Or where do you do it in person? Let's talk a little bit about how you do that.
Okay, part of the streamlining the process is I've got a questionnaire that I send people, and then I review it, and then if I have any questions, I give them a call. If not, I'll send them a proof set of documents, and they can look at it right from there. It's not
easy
not rocket
peasy.
Science. No.
No, it sounds like you made it very simple for people. And listen, folks, if you do not have anything in place, and a lot of people think you got to have money, especially when you talk about trusts, right? It's
Yes.
not about that.
No, actually, I sat down and did the calculation the other day. If you get a trust with me at $675, it costs less than if your heirs have to take your will or your non-will to probate.
So, for $675, talk about peace of mind, and I think it's so important. And we're talking this time of the year, give the gift of peace of mind to the family who is left over, right? Left, and that's really where it's not you, right?
When you're gone, you're gone.
You're
and
gone.
You have no control over what's going on, contrary to what some of my customers try to do. And I have to tell them, no, you can't tell them where they spend their money once you give it to them.
No, you can't. But you know what? You can, let me tell you, you may not want it to go to somebody. We've talked about that. And if it does, you're not going to be too happy about that. And so that's why these papers are so important, especially also if you are incapacitated.
Incapacitated.
Because what happens if you don't? Everybody thinks that this all talks about when you die, but it's not that, and that's why the powers of attorney are so, so important as well. What are your final words real quickly?
It's Christmas, it's family time. The entire purpose of this is to take care of your heirs. I know it's busy for everybody, and if you don't want to take care of it this month, please, in the new year, if you don't have anything in place, give me a call.
His phone number is 480-933-3131. Very affordable for you to do this. It's valley-wide. He does free consultations. Check him out on his website. It's AZestateplanz.com.